Thank you for watching an episode of Straight Up Gay Talk. If you're a straight man or a straight woman, if you're a trans man or a trans woman, whoever you are, and you want your voice to be heard, please scan the QR code on your screen and let's have a conversation. I look forward to hearing from you. I love you all. So I really want to talk get into more granularly of who you are and try to find out and pinpoint your journey. Because how old are you now?
48.
48. Okay, you look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Like if we want to be granular about it, it's not just black don't crack, it's black and gay don't crack, okay?
Oh, okay.
I know that you're from Tennessee.
Yeah.
So your journey in Tennessee, to the best of my knowledge, is part of the South. So,
Yeah, I'm from Southeast Tennessee, or from East Tennessee, and I had like a very I have very good parents. I'm and who are like, sweet, kind people, and they I so they sh I was sheltered, and very religious upbringing. We went to church a lot, constantly went to church. But I was sort of sheltered and not sexualized. So I think what happened with me was that other people, other like kids at school or whatever, they knew I was gay before I knew I was gay. Like I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about whether I was attracted to anyone or anything like that. Like that didn't not until, puberty, until the hormones kicked in that I was like, oh, there it is. But before that, I really didn't think about it or have a frame of reference or know. I didn't know what a gay person was. I remember AIDS being talked about, but I don't think any of us kids knew. It was just cooties. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, but we didn't actually know what AIDS was, or how you got it or anything like that. But it was a big deal when I was growing up, because I grew up during that epidemic. But a lot of my experience was colored, from being, sheltered. And so,
and you mentioned that your parents were, I mean, were very, very fair and inclusive and open-minded about who you were. And they were just like kind people and just let you find out for yourself who you were. And they were naturally unjudgmental and just let you be who you were and let you figure it out for yourself and accepted you and would love you no matter what you were, right? Does that sound like a fair characterization of what your experience was?
I do think that's fair. I just wasn't pushed one way or the other. I wasn't I remember because like when I was 10, I remember kids started calling me gay or the F word and stuff like that at school.
Sure.
And I remember being in the car with my mom and asking her what gay meant. And she's like, "Oh, it's when a one man loves another man." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then that was it. I was like, oh, okay. And then like I was like, that's but I was not feeling that at the time. I wasn't feeling attracted to anyone at all. I just knew that because, there was something about me that was causing the other kids to say that. And but that was the end of it. Like she didn't, it what we didn't, she didn't press me about it or anything like that. And I, had so anyway, but there were a lot of, I had lots of little stories like my dad when I was like little, like a toddler, my dad, started like a football league. My dad was an athlete. He played football, he did boxing, he ran track and things like that. He thought I was going to do that too. So when I was like he was like, gonna start early. Oh, my son, we're gonna start. And, I had all the football gear, the helmet, the pads, the everything. And I remember being excited about the gear. I was like, ooh, and I'd like put it on in the house and be like, and but then when my dad started the league and everything, and he drove me, I was fully costumed in my football outfit, and my dad took me to the first practice, and I wouldn't get out of the car, and I started screaming and crying because I didn't want to get out of the car. And my dad was like, "Okay," and then we just drove back home. He was like, "Oh, yeah, he doesn't want to do." He didn't like trust, force me or anything like that, which I'm very happy about, because
Yeah.
uh,
Are both of your parents African American?
both of my parents are black, but in generations past, on
Sure.
both sides of my family, there are
Okay,
European.
yeah. How did you transition from being a boy in Tennessee, and did you move to LA at some point, or did you like how does your story unfold from where you just where we just left off?
Yeah, well, I had a really great teacher who actually passed away about a month ago, and but he discovered I could sing, and I didn't know I could sing,
Mhm.
uh, but I was like 15 in high school and in like an elective class. And I was in I grew up playing piano. I was, one day I was sitting in the car and I was 5 years old. I told my parents it's time for me to start taking piano lessons, and I was like, okay. And then I started taking piano lessons, and then I like played saxophone in the orchestra in my middle school, and I wanted to be in the band. I sort of wanted, to participate in music. And so I went to performing arts high school to play the saxophone. And after in my sophomore year, I had to take an elective, and it was like a singing class. And the teacher, I did my singing assignment, and my teacher was like, "Oh my God, you can really sing." And like, I didn't know what he was talking. All I did was like sing the notes, sing it. I just stood there and sing what he told me to sing. And he went and like got people out of the hallway and brought them in and said, "Listen to this, that he can sing." And so then he asked me to do like join his class, his singing students in a performance, and gave me like a solo, and my orchestra teacher told me to throw my saxophone in the dumpster. And join the singing curriculum. So I switched to that, and I just started getting, parts in local community theater and at school and things like that, and auditioned for NYU, and so I ended up moving to New York when I was 18 to go to university in New York. So
How old were you when you moved to New York?
I was 18. I just turned 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how many years did you live in New York?
It was about 15 years.
What do you think are the struggles of being who you are as a gay man?
Um, in eighth grade, taking health class, and we had a textbook, and it had the different systems of the body, the reproductive, the respiratory, the endocrine, the digestive, the circulatory, but the reproductive chapter was cut out of the textbook, because we were in Southeast Tennessee. So they'd taken all the textbooks and like taken like a box cutter and cut out the chapter about reproduction. And so in that health class, somehow homosexuality came up. I don't remember how or why. But the teacher started talking about how it's so funny because The things that are going on now. But the he started talking about how in Bible times they would take homosexuals out into the street and stone them to death,
Oh my God.
and he wished they still did that. And a few of the students like pointed at me, and I guess to be like, stone him, or he's gay, or maybe you shouldn't say that because he's gay, or I don't know why they were pointing at me. I didn't really I had to have starting in about fifth grade is when I started getting a lot of, I always tell people like that movie Moonlight, like about fifth grade, it's sort of my childhood sort of started turning into that, the way the kids at school treated him. You get treated, I was treated, not so great by the other kids at school. And so I had to really learn to be I developed this like skill for like ignoring things or moving past them, or because I just had to go on with life, and it would happen, kind of like, every day someone would say something. And it also dealt with like a lot of racism from the time I was like a little kid. And so I just sort of had this built-in like resilience or something, where people would do things like that or say things, and I would be it just like I became Teflon. Is that the right thing? Teflon? But I just like things would like, it would just kind of like, bounce off me, or I just would move on. I would just be like, oh, well, that happened, and I would just move on. And But yeah, it was very there were like a lot of, instances like that. It just wasn't accepted by, there was no recourse for the bullying. There was no one you could go to. There was no because, if you were gay, that's why you were being bullied. You shouldn't be gay. You shouldn't walk like that. You shouldn't talk like that. Like, it was very there was like nothing anyone, or there was nothing that could be done about it, at that time.
Was there
Because
any, were there any other peers of yours, whether you were in your teens or you were growing up as an adult, that you had did you have other friends that were gay that that served as a kind of emotional support system?
there was this girl when I was a senior. There was a freshman girl who had a crush on me, and she um and I was like, I didn't know that she did. And she'd given me like a Christmas gift, and it was like this little like like a mug or something, but other people had given me gifts, and I didn't really know her that well, and I didn't really thank her, which was my bad. I should have. But I was just like, it just struck me as, I think I was just so I was like uncomfortable. I was like, she doesn't even really know me. Like, I wonder why she gave me this. Like, I didn't understand why she gave it to me. And she went, my sister also went to my school, and she went to my sister and said that one day she was going to be, this girl, she was going to be famous, and she was going to find me and laugh in my face because she was going to be so famous, and whatever. And um and then she grew up to marry a woman.
She gave you flowers and stuff like that, or
It
what?
was like a Christmas mug,
Oh,
and
Christmas mug.
um,
Okay, okay.
like I
Um,
guess she had a crush on me, which is why she was giving me
okay.
a gift, even though we didn't really know each other.
Okay.
And so she, she was mad at me because I wasn't reciprocating.
How old were you, do you think? Do you remember at this when this happened?
That was freshman year college. I was 18 years old when that
Oh,
happened.
okay. So you're a young adult and you're discovering things. You're discovering
Yes.
things about yourself and you're learning about how you're progressing as a human being. And
Yeah.
so let me ask you this. Have you ever been intimate with a woman?
Yeah, I had girlfriends when I was growing up. I starting at like 13. The girls were really into me. You have no idea. But
I wish I could say the same thing, but my wife is upstairs. So just between you and me and whoever's listening, yeah, I had some game too. All right, I don't want to sell myself too short, but
I even had
uh,
like I even had a girlfriend in preschool, and her name was Heather. Ooh, Heather. And
okay,
but we did, she would bring me like, you know, orange Tic Tacs in the morning, and we would, play together at recess. And then everybody thought of us as girlfriend and boyfriend, and so like they had us sing a song, the end of the year school performance, they had us sing a little love song together while we were holding
okay.
hands on stage. Like, but yeah, and then I had at least 3 or 4 girlfriends growing up.
But what kind of intimate acts did you have with women?
Um, I had sex with them. With
Okay,
I had sex with one of them. The others were curious why I was not affectionate towards them.
okay.
I mean, and now they know. But once I learned about making out, so I it was just fun. It really was just
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, hey,
I didn't even have like an attraction to them. It was just like it just was fun. Like I had this one friend who was a girl. We would make out behind a curtain. Around a corner, like every little chance we got, we would just make out. It just because we were just being silly kids, like, so anyway.
was the soundtrack of Rent playing in the background? Was that... So you had these experiences with women, and so talk to me about your discovery about being a gay man, like your first experience with someone from the same sex.
The first time I kissed a guy was, I think it was senior year of college. And someone just kind of like, it was at a party and someone cornered me in a kitchen and tried to get me to make out with them, and I wasn't into it, not because they were perfectly handsome and nice and funny, but I just was like, sometimes you're just not into someone. And so that was like the first time. And I remember saying to it's so funny because, it was at a party, and so we came out of the kitchen and everybody's like, ooh, like, and I was like, and somebody said something, and I said, oh, I'm not attracted to him the way he's attracted to me. And I thought they meant I was saying I'm not gay, but I was just saying I'm just not attracted to him particularly. I'm still gay, but I'm just not attracted to him. Like, but I think they were like, oh, Larray's, like, and but yeah, I think probably junior year, I probably like I never had like a coming out where I was like sat people down. Like, there were sat people down and was like, listen, everybody, I have an announcement to make. Like, I was just like, just in like, when you're casually talking with people, I would just like, I think junior year, I casually, and you talk about all sorts of things. And I think I decided when I did when I was going to relate to people in, social situations, it would be as a bisexual. And then senior year, I decided, no, let's just go with gay. That's, like I was like, let's just cut to the chase and just, and
What do you think are your experiences of challenges between you and the other partners or friends that you've had in the gay community?
practicality and compatibility. Like, it really is just that. It's that simple. Like I don't think there's a difference. It's just a matter of whether you're fitting together at that time. Yeah. I have a lot of like straight guy friends who think it's easier for gay men to like, hook up and find sex and things like that. And um I don't know. There's the thing is like, straight men have more um you can go anywhere and you don't have to worry about deciding if someone plays on your team or not. You don't have to like tiptoe, to find out. You don't have to, there's no like, there's no barrier to that. You don't have that barrier to entry that we have, that it adds an element for us of danger. So I always take umbrage with that whole thing where straight men think it's easier for gay men to, hook up. It's there's with gay men there's an el more of an element of danger. And which makes up for whatever you might think. So we do things um so we find spaces where we can equal the playing field. So straight people can go anywhere. You can go to the grocery store, you can go to church, you can go to, the amusement park, you can go to, wherever, and there's plenty, there are plenty of people who identify the same way you do. It's not like that for gay people. We have to have spaces where we go to do that, and we only have so many spaces and a certain amount of time we're in that space. Straight people are in those spaces 24/7. We're in that space for a couple of hours every 2 weeks or whenever you decide to go to, a gay bar or something like that. Like there's less, so we move a little bit fat. We are the signaling, the way we relate to each other, we just get to a little bit faster because our we have less time and less opportunity. So when we do finally have that time and that opportunity, we kind of, move a little faster, I think.
You were talking about the spaces where you can go and the spaces where you feel less comfortable. Are there any specific examples of that that you'd like to share?
Spaces where I feel less comfortable.
Sure.
Anytime I'm outside of Los Angeles or New York, much less comfortable. Just like starting there, like, if we want to sort of, big picture it. And then, what's funny is I remember talking to a gay friend a little while ago about the barber shop, and I'm not good at code switching. A lot of gay, there's like a thing. Barbershops are very, very straight spaces, and a lot of gay men are good at a lot of most gay men they code switch when they go to a barbershop. And so they're like, "Yo, bro, what's up?" Da, 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 da. And I just for some reason that's just not ever since I've always the way I talk and everything and I've just always been the same since I was a little kid. There's no like code switching isn't like an option for me in any sort of, and so like I always feel uncomfortable in a barber shop. Isn't that something? I always feel uncomfortable when I go to the barber. It's always something I have to like get myself like ready for. And I have to like, I feel so awkward and I'm like, what am I gonna fit? Am I gonna do am I gonna pound? Am I gonna shake? Am I gonna like, and I like,
I could understand why that would be a problem just practically is just because like as a human being it's inherent within our DNA just to fit
yeah,
into the group, right? So like ha- so there might be it sounds like there might be circumstances where you might even have to kind of like um pretend that you're straight, right? Like, is that an accurate statement?
I don't really, like I said, I just can't. It's like impossible. I'm the most, awkward fist bumper ever. Like, right? Like, so, it's, I just sort of like, am like. I'm here for the haircut and that's it. I know you want to chit and I'll chit chat, but there's a lot they really want. There's a lot of I was just at the barbershop yesterday and there's a lot of crosstalk and chit chat and da 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 da. And I sort of don't I will just close my eyes and pretend I don't participate in it because I just can't participate in it the same way they can. I mean, but I don't do sometimes I do, I still, will, chime in here or there, but I don't hide anything or change anything or,
Would you say you're more comfortable being yourself in LA and New York than you are being yourself in Tennessee?
in Tennessee as an adult walking through a mall or a store and people commenting in derogatory ways, based on, I guess, maybe what I was wearing or how I sounded or what I looked like at the time. Or there's a funny story. I was, when I was in, it was, I think I was in college or right after college, and I didn't have a primary care. I hadn't done the adulting part where you get your own primary care doctor or whatever. I had to go, and I didn't have my pediatrician, so I was going to some random new doctor in Tennessee while I was visiting my parents. And the person, I think it was probably an MA or a nurse or something, came in the room and they're getting to know you, finding out about you, asking, they asked you this, how many drinks do you have a week? And we always are like, oh, three or four. Really, it's like nine or 10 that week, but you say three or four. But but um, but she but she, in her line of questioning, she asked me if I was still getting my period. And I
This is a
said,
woman that asked you if you were still getting your period?
yes, at a doctor's office.
Let's get to the bottom of this. Let's make it even more interesting. Was she a white woman, African American, Asian? What was she?
This was in Saudi Daisy, Tennessee, at a doctor's office, and she was a white woman.
If there are any white women watching here, we're not going to generalize and say it's all white women. This was a specific individual, and okay, but thank you for giving us a little bit of color with that story. I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Welcome to Straight Up Gay Talk. Thank you for watching an episode of Straight Up Gay Talk. If you're a straight man or a straight woman, if you're a trans man or a trans woman, whoever you are, and you want your voice to be heard, please scan the QR code on your screen and let's have a conversation. I look forward to hearing from you. I love you all. If you like, comment, and subscribe. My pet giraffe, who has pancreatic cancer and has had one stroke and two heart attacks, will survive.
So long, gay boys!